Hello, whoa, whoa, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Hit the like button, subscribe if you new. But the question is, or I would say, what's happening here is the sheriff Nanos is gaining a lot of scrutiny in handling this Nancy Guthrie case. And it appears that he's skipping a few steps in the rules of investigation, or maybe even he's out of his league. I mean, he has a lot of experience, but maybe not enough technology and enough experience in this part of the, type of case, right? Being a potential kidnapping or murder for hire or some sort of thing going on here that's obviously has been well thought out. Um, if we really look at this case, it is very, very different. It is very, very a lot of nuances. It's really more difficult than what it looks like. Because what we have here is maybe a potential kidnapping, or do we have a murder for hire, or do we have a conspiracy ritual? I mean, there's just so many different things that this case is taking shape in that the sheriff is trying to, keep everything under one fold. But you have the FBI there with their technology and all their intelligence. And I believe from what I've seen of all the information gathered, this is a lot of people. This could potentially be an involvement of over 30 people, right? This could be some sort of cult, right? I think maybe the town is involved. Maybe the sheriff even involved. I don't know. But I got a video. We're gonna get to it. Hit the like button if you're new, subscribe if you're new. But we're gonna get to it. We're gonna hear what the reporters have to say.
The sheriff was asked by Brian Enton about additional cameras at Nancy's. Now, keep in mind, Ashley Banfield reported that there was a Nest cam in the front, that we already know, and that there was one in the back too, and that both of the Nest cams at Nancy's were taken. And the sheriff has never confirmed anything about the back door. He has never, he has said, we don't have the Nest cameras. So like whatever number there were, they were taken. And he won't confirm forced entry. He won't say whether the perp got in through the front door or the back door. But Brian did ask him about additional cameras in SOP 56. Take a listen.
I know that you and the FBI were able to get those surveillance photos off the camera in the front of the house.
Yeah.
Any progress on the other cameras? Can you do the same thing?
Boy, I'm hopeful. So there's other cameras. Your question, will we get more? We've asked the Google, hey guys, can you do this? And they said the very same thing. Sheriff, we don't think we can get anything, but we'll try. And that's all we're hopeful.
And so as of now, it's still just the video from the front?
Yes.
Okay, so the sheriff, hard to hear there, but was saying there are more cameras. He has said that before. He didn't specifically say it's another Nest camera, but he didn't sound too hopeful in that particular soundbite. And it's been now more than a week since they found the video of the abductor on the front porch, Maureen. So are we getting pessimistic about the odds of recovering another needle in the haystack?
I'm getting pessimistic about that, and it hurts my soul. But I do know that if you recall when the
bottom line is there were perpetrators in that house they said they were in there for over 48 minutes. So this tells me they were looking for something. So what did Nancy know? These are the questions that needs to be answered, right? What did she know that make, or who did she know that made somebody go after 84-year-old women with, and they're not even getting any money for this. And if she's still alive, then what was the point of the ransom notes, right? Point of the ransom note is if you don't pay, we execute. So once again, I don't know, man. This seems like some sort of a cult, maybe some ritual. I don't know, man. It seemed like the whole town is involved because no witnesses come forward in Tucson and said, we've seen activity in the town that night on 31st. Remind you, she was taken 4 days after her birthday, right? Her birthday is December 27th. And she was taken the 31st, maybe the 30th. I don't know. They say the 30th first. I don't know. Maybe the 30th. Who knows? But the bottom line is, how the hell do you get a vehicle down there with people in it? Let's paint the scenario, right? Let's paint the scenario. There's 3 objectives here, right? 3 ways we can look at this. If it's strangers, let's say it's strangers, right? Who's been casing the house, been watching her. They won't take her for some money. These guys would have had to get a whole car down there, get out the car, walk in the house, get her, and then carry her out to the car or, whatever. So you mean tell me they have no proof? Forget the cameras. Let's forget about the cameras. You're going to tell me at, let's say, 12 in the morning, 2 in the morning, you're going to pull vehicles down in that secluded town and nobody's going to see you. Nobody's going to say, hey, we seen the car. It was weird. It was late at night. That's one way, right? So let's go to another scenario. Let's just say, so either it was a stranger coming from nowhere, trying to get kidnapped, trying to get some money. They're going to come down to town like that, knowing nobody, they're going to drive in there. They're going to drive in there. They don't know that town will be walking and passing around. They have time is of the essence. So they're going to pull that car probably maybe a few feet in front of the house, get out the car, raid the house, get her out. They're trying to do all this within 5 minutes. In the house, 2.5 minutes. To the car, 2.5 minutes. That will be the objective. Then send the ransom note within an hour or two. If not that morning, that 5, 6 in the morning, had that ransom note to the Guthries. Fuck the news station. We're going straight to the Guthries. That's strangers. That's the other one scenario. The other part is, if this was, let's just say, somebody who knew her, right? So whoever knew her would have had to still orchestrate how to get her from that house into a vehicle and take her where, right? Carry an 84-year-old woman who's she could die any moment. It's a lot of responsibility. You don't want her to die and you can't show proof of life. So that's just highly unlikely, right? It's too much work. Where are you going to put her? How you going to put her in a car, drive her, and you got all these cameras on the neighbors' houses and the streets. Just like they had the street cameras. All that shit works. Gas station got cameras. The only way you can pull a kidnapping like this off or that type, you need, number one, it needs to be people, it needs to be more than like 10, 15 people. That's one. Then you need to orchestrate it where you got to beat the cameras because you know that they're going to search the cameras. So all this had to be made look like nothing was going on, but something was going on. This is not no normal. Who goes out of small town Tucson? You know how small that town is? Where they were at? Ain't no way. So, the sheriff, I think the investigation starts with the family. It has to be. There's just no way nobody's going to pull something off like this long, 18 days, and not make a big mistake. It's just too much. It's eyewitnesses, cameras, fingerprints. Yeah, all that stuff would have been, the average person would have been caught within 3 days, easily.
When the sheriff gave one presser, he said that with their strong partnership, or no, it was Kash Patel who said, with our strong partnerships with the private sector, we were able to go in and help Google with their things. So I have faith that the FBI people, if they're embedded in there and they're allowing them to work there, that they will have the best luck, because the FBI does unbelievable work. I've seen it. One of the guys on my team used to do that work for the Bureau. It does take a lot of time. It does take a lot of patience. And it takes an unbelievable amount of experience and intelligence when it comes to these type of systems, old ones cobbled together with new ones. With, is there a SIM card attached? Does it have, is it in the cloud? Is it on a recorder at the home? All these things together. And they're going to be digging very carefully in down every single alley. So my hope is low. My expectation is low, but I'm hoping that they're just going to come up with something great for us.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it would be the best place to get more evidence if they could possibly get anything out of there. The sheriff also spoke with Fox News and Jonathan Hunt and had this to say about exploring any connection in this crime to Mexico. Tucson, of course, where she lives, being an hour away from the southern border. Here's what he said in SOT 53.
Any suggestion at all that Nancy Guthrie might have been taken across the border into Mexico? Are you looking at that at all?
I'm sure the FBI's looked into that as well, but no, I mean, we check all the leads we have. We're like everybody else. We know where Mexico is in relationship to this, and certainly it's a possibility, but no, we have nothing to indicate that.
And yet, this just in from Fox News' Michael Ruiz. A federal law enforcement source confirms the FBI has contacted Mexican authorities in connection with the Nancy Guthrie case. So the sheriff says they don't have any firm evidence that she's been taken across the border, and says there's no indication she was taken there, but we are contacting the Mexican authorities. Is this the sheriff seems, every time he's talked about Mexico, he's like, no. And then we find out the FBI is talking. How can he say no? We don't know who did it. Explain that to me, Will. Why is he like, no, it's not Mexico? How the hell do we know?
I don't know, Megan. And I have to say, every single time I see an interview or any words coming out of his mouth, I'm almost aghast at his somewhat ambiguous and foggy answers to everything, or definitive answers, when really, to be honest, he shouldn't be saying anything. I mean, again, this is what I was saying, we were discussing last week, which is about, it's so important that those updates that you are providing have to be as accurate as possible. They cannot be in conflict with what the FBI may be saying or doing. And ultimately, you're going to lose more and more credibility. And the family, Savannah and the other family members, will be losing their faith and hope in the capability of actually retrieving their mother in whatever capacity that might be. I think, again, the problem with the sheriff, I mean, even going to the cameras point, he said other cameras. So there was inevitably more than one backdoor camera. There was the front camera. Also in terms of Google, and I've worked with Google, and I've looked at also data retrieval on a number of projects and operations investigations. And if Google were able to retrieve, obviously, the footage from the front camera, from the Nest camera, obviously on the front door, then they should be able to retrieve the footage from the ones at the back. And there should be a very quick interrogation of Nancy's financials, looking at her credit card statements, looking at her bank account, to see if she's got a Nest subscription. You should be able to find that out literally within 24 hours.
That's a good point. The sheriff, I'm sorry, he's lost credibility with me. I no longer believe the sheriff. This is just one example, but the whole business, this is yet another example of like the sheriff seems to be making it up. Like, no, Mexico. Okay, I don't believe you. I don't know whether it's true or it's not true, but I know that you don't know enough to say that yet. And then the thing about whether the family members have all been cleared. This is the chronology. It's changed again. Here we are on Wednesday. It's been changing every day this week. Okay, let me tell you. On Sunday, to the Daily Mail, the sheriff, nobody has been cleared as suspects. On Monday, in a press release, the family has been cleared as possible suspects. NBC News reports that same day, absolutely no evidence was examined in order to get to the new conclusion. So we knew the sheriff had pulled it out of his hat, right? Like when he said, no one's been cleared, and then the family's been cleared, we all said, oh, they must have gotten a DNA. Something came back. Like something got him there. No, NBC reported absolutely nothing changed. It's just the sheriff just deciding to tell us they've been ruled out. And then he added, and they've been ruled out from the first early days of the case. Well, then why did you tell the Daily Mail on Sunday that no one's been ruled out? Why did you say that? Why did you say that every day for the preceding 12 days that no one had been ruled out? So it seemed very clear that he was trying to do the family a solid on Monday by just saying they're all ruled out. Then the FBI wouldn't go that far, just kind of had a no comment in response to the family's ruled out. Then Tuesday, which was yesterday, he comes out after the showtime and said the Guthrie family has not been identified as suspects. They've not been identified as a suspect. Well, that is not the same thing as being ruled out, being cleared. That's not the same thing at all. That's a massive walk back, which he did. And then he sits down with Fox News' Jonathan Hunt, and he asks the sheriff, this is within an hour of him doing the walk back of saying, well, they haven't been cleared. And this is what he says, SOT 51.
You are 100% certain that there is no connection between the kidnapping and the siblings or the siblings' spouses, the Guthrie siblings?
I am completely, I think we put out a statement yesterday. I put it out. 100% certain that this family has been completely victimized. And the re-victimization should not occur, ever.
No, Jim, you are our linguist. No, none of it works.
None of it does work. And these exonerations always bother me. In the John Benet Ramsey case, the family was completely exonerated by the Boulder DA. Not saying anyone in the family killed the girl, but just a complete exoneration to me makes no sense. I'm on a podcast right now, my own podcast called Red. We're talking to the father of a woman killed in British Columbia in 2008. And the family, the police there, Saanich PD, have completely exonerated her boyfriend and her boyfriend's mother. And now we have, of course, the sheriff in this case exonerating the family. Unless you're putting handcuffs on someone else with DNA evidence, there is absolutely no purpose. And where's the DA in this? Can you imagine being the district attorney? Somehow the family, evidence points to a family member. How much the arguments will be before the jury that, well, the sheriff himself said they're not involved. What did this change? What political aspect came in that you all of a sudden changed ideas here and they were exonerated, they're not, and it's all they need in front of a jury, just to make one person say, oh, they're not guilty. So there's no purpose for these exonerations. You can say we're not focusing on the family right now and leave it at that and move on, but it doesn't mean you've closed the door. And unless they're playing, 9D chess, and quite frankly,
there's
I don't think the sheriff is on that level of a chessboard.
No way.
Of any way,
Maureen,
shape, or
the
form.
number, Sunday, no one's cleared. Monday, the family's cleared. Tuesday, the family's not identified as suspects right now. He said right now. Then within an hour of that statement, the interview to Jonathan Hunt. So you're saying they're 100% cleared. They've 100% been victimized. Which, so like, what is he doing?
He's really making it difficult for whoever the prosecution team is. And if I were on trial prep with this, I know the first meeting with the prosecutor, we would just sit there and drop our face into our hands, saying, how are we going to circumnavigate this nightmare? Because if he thinks he's not going to be put on the stand and just grilled left, right, and center for all these contradicting statements, it's just a disservice. In my opinion, all of his jaw-jacking is a complete divergence from what should be important, which is the investigation and the noble professionals that are carrying out all these, investigative leads and following these lines of inquiry, because this is just not helpful. And that's the nicest way I can say it.
Yeah, just be quiet about it. It's like put aside Ashley Banfield's reporting early on that her senior law enforcement source said that the brother-in-law may be the prime suspect at this time. Put that aside. We all have been watching them tow the Guthrie car, the Annie Guthrie car, who's married to Tomas. We watched them go into Annie and Tomas's house in the dark hours of the evening and keep the lights off and take a bunch of photos. We watched them come out of the house with what looked like evidence bags. We've watched them be asked specifically about Tomas and refuse to rule him out or rule out any family members. And then suddenly one day, like magic, the sheriff says cleared. The FBI doesn't back it up. And then the next day comes out and won't say cleared again, but just says, oh, not identified as suspects. And we're all supposed to be shamed out of discussing Tomas or Annie or anybody. Like, we're supposed to take his cue that it's not nice. He keeps saying it's mean. I don't know what, I'm gleaning that the sheriff may genuinely not think that this guy did it, but I don't think we can say the FBI has ruled him out. And this seems like another example of piss poor coordination on his part.
I think it shows a lot more than that. I couldn't agree more with what Maureen and Fitz have both said. What we're seeing here is his ego driving his...
Sounds like he's protecting, seems like he's protecting the Guthrie family, right? He's trying to stir all the attention away from them. Maybe he's involved. I don't know. Small town, right? Could be part of a cult too. I've heard of these cults, right? They're these little entities. They're in like small towns, and they do a lot of devil worshiping. They got a lot of things going on. So I don't know about, maybe he's protecting them from, maybe because he's involved. Maybe the whole town's involved. But the FBI probably seems to be figuring this out. And he's trying, seemingly, to keep the FBI out the fold because, it is a local state case. But, if he loses grips, then the feds will, they'll come in and take over. But he has to, right now, as long as he keeps everybody, masking everybody, completely like the Guthries, people are going to lose confidence in him. And they're going to ask him to be removed from this case. So thank you for coming. Hit the like button on your way out. Have a good day.